Hi Libra, welcome to your May 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. So, before I lay out the cards, I just wanted to let you know that you're going to have Venus in your opposite sign all month long, okay, in May. So your opposite sign means your opposite house, Aries, 7th house, long-term relationships. So Venus there can bring harmony to any kind of marital issues. We did have Venus retrograding, beginning with Aries. Now it's coming back into Aries after dipping into Pisces. So that could be restoring harmony. You may find some kind of commitment is made. Let's see what the cards say, see if they kind of go along with that. Okay, 2 came out. I'm going to use both of them in the past tense. Okay. So, first off, I wanted to say that when I pick a card and there's more than one kind of stuck together or they just come out together, I do use them because I think that you can't just, then I'm just choosing which one to pick. And I don't want to do that, so that's why I allowed both of them. For the overall situation, we have the Empress card. Now, I did get into a bit of a debate with somebody online about this card, and she turned out to be right. It can be Libra. I always associate it with Taurus. Both of those signs are ruled by Venus, and this card connects to Venus. Now, Venus is in Aries, so I had just mentioned that. But the Empress can be the mother archetype, but the Earth Mother, the fertile mother, not the I don't know what they say in Wicca. Don't they say crone, or is that just for like witches? I don't know. But the mother who is, and when I say fertile, I guess it could be a woman of any age, but I do tend to think of someone who's capable of reproducing, because it is this creative element, and sometimes it can speak to someone who is pregnant or, you know, who is wanting to get pregnant. Also, somebody who is creative in general. But those two signs, it could be a Taurus, it could be you as a Libra. And there's a sensuality associated with this card that is important because it's really getting in touch with that side of yourself. As a Libra, you tend to be rather abstract and in your head, not necessarily connected to your body sometimes. And this is about being connected to your body, being connected to all of the senses, which is, you know, where the term sensual comes from. The idea of reveling in the senses rather than just living up in the mind. And this could also speak to love, obviously, because Venus is involved. So you may be this person who is in love, who is maybe, in some cases, committing to a partner because you want to become a parent. I'm not going to just limit it to mothers. You want to nurture. And that's why you want to become a parent. And either gender can do that, obviously. Now let's talk about why this happened. Well, to be honest with you, so we have two fire sign energies, the King of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Now you could say that the Knight of Wands, which is associated with Sagittarius, could be an affair, and the King of Wands, this could be the baby daddy, because kings can relate to fathers. And so you could have two men specifically who are both very fiery. If it's not their sun sign, that they still have that maybe a very quick temper, or they're just very passionate. Maybe they talk loud, and they're very excitable and very enthusiastic, or maybe very impatient. I always associate the Knight of Wands with Aries, but I have read that it's supposed to be actually Sagittarius. Okay, well, whatever, any of the fire signs. And I don't know about the King of Wands, but I always associate kings with Leo, kings and queens with Leo, so, you know, as royalty. So who knows? But fire energy. Fire energy can also represent the sexual passions. So what I would see, that perhaps you are pregnant by one person, maybe you had an affair, or maybe maybe you're with someone and you have a child with that person, but you had an affair on the side. Okay? And if that is the case, and I always kind of slightly cringe in talking about this, because I don't want to normalize that type of thing. Not that it's evil and anything like that, but it's very disruptive to one's life. Let's not talk about morality, but let's just talk about how it affects children, how it affects families. And so if that's happening, I don't want to act like, oh, it's no big deal. I did have somebody lecture me and say, you know, infidelity is never okay. And I said, well, you know, that may be the case, but it happens. Whether we think it's okay or not, it happens. And we have to address it if it shows up in a reading. In this case, it may be that there are two people involved. Now, it can be a facet of one person. Perhaps you're with somebody and you have a child together, and they have a tendency to be a womanizer. And yet they're, you know, maybe you're torn because they are the father of your child. However, I do feel that for some people there's almost like this compulsive thing, because the Devil card does speak to temptation. So it can be a situation where you're with someone who really is someone you feel that maybe it's a sexual connection, but it does not translate into a healthy relationship. So that's why it would be a devil situation, because it is keeping you from other things in life. It's something that is negative, and you feel like maybe you're kind of trapped in that compulsive behavior. But it also can be a Capricorn. So I don't know if one of two people is a Capricorn, but that's just another possible interpretation. But I do feel like some of you may, and you know, here's the thing. If this is true for any of you, and if it's true, let me know if you want to. You don't have to, but I'm always kind of like a bit interested if any of these things, because sometimes they seem so outlandish that it's hard to believe that they could really happen. But sometimes people tell me, yeah, that's happening to me. Is it that the person that you're with right now is actually, maybe you're with somebody who is kind of boring to you. And so it's like you don't really want to be with either one. And that's why you're cheating. You're with the father of your child because you're supposed to be this happy family. And then you're having this affair because you're bored with the father of your child. But you know that that person isn't going to be able to sustain the relationship. Well, here's an interesting thing. The higher message is the Strength card, which is associated with Leo. And I did say that that King of Wands could be a Leo. So if it's like, what should I do? The clear message would be that the Leo person is the more stable person. And when you get a king, a lot of times, in addition to maybe possibly dealing with someone who is a father, it could be it's showing maturity, that this person is mature. Now, just because somebody is mature doesn't mean that you're going to resonate with this person. However, in general, Libras tend to get along with Leos. So, and with Sagittarians. So, it's not that you would not be compatible with this person, but depending on who you are, and if this person is older, which kings tend to represent, you may be a little bit rebellious yourself. You may be like, I don't have to do what this person says. And yet you are willing to be, and maybe the person is kind of acting bossy or acting like your father in a way. If they are a bit older than you, or they are, let's say they are a Leo, and they have that sense of authority or authoritarianism, you might balk at that, which I wouldn't blame you. But the answer is not to necessarily go and have an affair. And that might be what is happening for some of you. If you're not having an affair, that person might have just been in the picture. But I do feel that the sexual component is definitely true for some of you, hence the Devil card. The Strength card is also talking about inner strength, confidence, to be able to deal with a situation that arises without kind of falling apart. So if you're in, and you know, let's say you are pregnant by somebody else that you didn't want to be pregnant by, you are going to have to rise to the occasion. And this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to mention not normalizing the situation, because it has so many repercussions where people really do suffer when they get themselves involved in these crazy situations. The people themselves suffer. Somebody who's cheating can be really suffering. We tend to think of the so-called victim, but the person cheating can be in a lot of pain too. And this is sometimes not acknowledged. It's better to live life in an authentic, manner, full of integrity, because then you never have to cover your tracks. You're always transparent. And you feel good about yourself. The Strength card is about having self-esteem and having that confidence. And it's hard to do so when you feel that you're not on the right track. What crosses you is the Two of Pentacles. And so again, it's about choice. Who do I choose? There's a reason why those two cards came up together when there was only supposed to be one. This is the challenge. And you may be having a hard time making that choice. One of those people could be a Capricorn, because this is a Pentacles card, and then I did get the Devil card. Or maybe it's another Earth sign. And you may even be, maybe that person is affluent. Maybe they have, the money to give you a certain lifestyle that you love to have. I always say that Libra people love bright, shiny objects. But you love beautiful things. And so what are you willing to do to get those things? I guess is the question. What are you willing to sacrifice? Peace of mind? It can also point to the Two of Pentacles, can point to somebody who is kind of juggling their life. Maybe you're trying to, maybe you have two jobs, maybe you're just really stretched to the limit in terms of your time, and your life is chaotic, and you don't really have time to think about what you're doing. Well, you need to. You really need to think about what you're doing, because you may be getting in over your head, and it may show up in some of the situations that you find yourself in. And when I say find yourself, I'm in a way being very facetious, because it's not happening by accident. You are the captain of your ship. And if you don't acknowledge that, if you don't embrace that, if you try to run away from that, you can find yourself feeling victimized, feeling like you're the victim of fate. What is coming in for you, or the advice, is the Five of Cups. Either one of these scenarios could be happening. Either you could be grieving the loss of a relationship, or it could be saying that you need to open yourself up to this, that this is inevitable, and maybe you've been trying to prolong the inevitable. And perhaps you really need to face this eventuality. Maybe this is just what is, I was going to say in store for you, but I don't like to be that ominous. I just mean that perhaps this is something that you can't avoid. Maybe you are, maybe you have to mourn the loss of something. And it's interesting because I did get that Devil card. So to me, that sounded like you were being tempted in a flesh, temptations of the flesh sort of way. Not necessarily something to do with emotions, like the Five of Cups would suggest. But as is often the case, there may be emotions lurking beneath the surface that have caused you to act out in a certain way. Maybe this loss is somebody totally different. Maybe you were in love with somebody and somehow that relationship did not work out, and you found yourself doing certain things that have led to this moment where you're with maybe you have two people at the same time, and you don't have feelings for either one of them, and one of them may even be the father of your child. And maybe the loss you need to mourn came years ago. Maybe it's the loss of a father. Maybe it's the loss of your first love. And maybe you've never mourned that loss properly, and it's led you to make some unwise decisions. Sometimes air signs sublimate their emotions. Maybe you're capable of talking about your emotions but not really feeling them. And when you repress things, they don't go away. They just kind of get swept under the rug. And maybe now it's the time to purge yourself of those emotions so that you can truly move on. Mourn the loss of somebody that was close to you, and you will be able to free yourself. The outcome, Nine of Pentacles, solitary number, but there's a certain strength and self-sufficiency that I like about this card. It's most of the people watching this will be women, and that sense of not being dependent on your partner, of being able to support yourself financially, but also nurture yourself emotionally, because you're not looking for someone else to validate you, and you're really willing to sit with your feelings, and you're really willing to be alone, and to, the Pentacles relate to money, but even the second house of earned income also is the house of self-worth. So valuing yourself by yourself, I think, is the key to this card. And Libra is a sign that loves partnership. And sometimes this can become neurotic, and the tendency is to go from one person to the next, like an assembly line. And that can lead to relationships that are actually quite bad. So, and not learning from the past relationship. So I think that Nine of Pentacles is really a very beautiful card and an affirmation of the joys of solitude when it's conscious solitude, not when you're feeling like nobody loves me, I'm alone. So I hope you enjoyed this, Libra. If you'd like a much more personalized reading using your natal chart in my love readings to pinpoint your patterns and look at your style of loving, and if you have a partner, how it meshes with them, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great May. Bye.